One. Here we go. Welcome back to Ranma Half Anime Review, episode number 32. We're here reviewing the fourth episode of the series, which is known as The Fighter. This episode adapts from chapters 10 through 12 and pretty much in the way the first half of chapter 13. Yep, that's pretty much in the way what this episode adapts. It's essentially put these chapters were also made into episodes 7 and 8 of the original series. So in just 4 episodes, they have pretty much remade already 8 episodes out of, if you're curious, like, how long was the original series for Ranma Half? The original 1989 series. It was a total number of 161 episodes. And so far, in just 4 episodes, they made 8 of those episodes. So kind of in a way, they could probably have this one could last even less than the original series did. Now, one thing I'm still hoping for this series to do, and because the original series failed to do this because of the low ratings, I'm hoping this remake adapts the entire series. Not stop at a certain point and never come back to it, or just come back with OVAs. Given the fact that Ranma Half is probably still popular, even after all these years, in fact the writer herself is still very popular, I'm sure that the series will last longer than just like 161 episodes. It might not last that long per se, because a lot of that was filler. That's the reason why it was dragged out as long as it was. Do I think we got the entire manga? Yes. And so far, in just 8 episodes, I've already covered 13 chapters, which is kind of standard for some anime to cover at this point in time, so nothing wrong with that. So, we start off with our now, this episode you could say is noted for 2 things. The debut of a brand new character, and a permanent status quo for one character that will remain for the entirety of the rest of the series. Let's get started. We start off with a boar running through his village and being stopped by our brand new character, Ryoga, with an umbrella. Well, not a regular umbrella, more like a Japanese, it's more like a sun umbrella that he basically uses to pick up the boar and toss away. Of course, he rejects Tokyo, and the guy has got a terrible sense of direction. Yes, terrible sense of direction. Like, at one point, basically, like, he challenged, of course, it's real, like, when he runs into Ranma, like, Ranma doesn't remember him. He was like, oh, you're Ryoga, we used to go to school together. It's later actually went to a boys' school over the fact he kept stealing food. Yeah, so he challenged him to a duel. He went there, no problem. And he was there for 3 days. And he never showed up. And of course he thinks Ranma chickened out because he apparently has got a terrible sense of direction. He does ask this question. Why did it take you 4 days to get to our dueling ground? When our houses were not that far from each other? Yes, seriously, he says in the episode. And of course he challenges him a duel. And of course basically briefly fights him. And yeah. And then, of course, he explains the next bit where, of course, Rama's a girl, and, well, his father's his panda mode the whole episode, because apparently Genta, in order to avoid conversation, he would purposely dump himself with cold water in order to turn into a panda, because pandas don't speak English. Yeah, he would feign ignorance. He does this. But that's not here. Nope. So, by the way, Shao is not in the episode. If you're curious, did the anime cut him out? No, he's actually not in the actual chapters they adapt for this episode. So, basically, I have to explain the whole thing with Yoga. Like, oh, this was your thing from yesterday. It's like, oh, don't worry about that. Basically, he has terrible sense of direction. So, then they arrive at the battleground. And so is Ryoga. Like, oh, you check out, of course. I want to give you basically something to call this fight. Here's all this food that you basically have been craving. He's like, who would eat food that's a week old? And I'm like, that's your fault for basically taking your sweet time getting over here. And they immediately start fighting, and of course, basically there was an umbrella belt, which apparently that one of the broadcasters tried to pick it up. The thing is like a freaking log. It's like they can't pick it up. Akane can't do it, and like, oh, avoid his claws. He's a monster. And of course, well, throws an umbrella, and of course they eventually go outside of the duel area, where they end up crushing a freaking fountain. And Ranma turns to a girl. So technically, in a way, Ryoga is the first person outside of the Tendo family, and his father defined the fact he's a girl. He could turn into a girl, and also the fact prior to this, he had torn his shirt. He's like, "It's my favorite shirt." He's like, "Why are something so girly?" He's like, and Ranma puts, "It's not girly. The world made your freaking clothes," which I agree with that. And of course, apparently, Ryoga does not know the fact that Ranma's got boobs now. Yeah. And of course, Akane basically sticks her nose in it. And then, of course, he has to protect it from his bandana attack. He has to ask, how many bandanas do you have? Apparently, Ryoga's got a limited amount of bandanas. At one point, one of the bandanas jumps up one guy's hair, which is so funny. And then he takes his belt off. Like, you think, oh crap, he's going to whip Ranma? No, he turns to a freaking sword, throws the belt. And of course, Ranma and Akane argue about him trying to protect her from Ryoga. And he, of course, tries to apologize for what he said. And then Akane turns around, faces him, and then a very shocking moment happens. Ryoga's belt sword chops off Akane's ponytail. And this is what I mean by permanent status quo change. Because this will remain the entire series. She never bothers to grow it back. Her hair remains short for the rest of the whole series. This even happened in the original series. And if you're curious, this happened episode 8, mind you. Yes, 8. Because, of course, the episode was literally a remake episode 7 and 8, basically combined into one. And all the fillers. I even love basically they included all the... Like, the episode even had this really interesting opening where it's like a video game, which is interesting. It's like every episode they have to top basically each opening bit to how to recap the series in just the first, like, try to explain the premise. But, great episode overall. But next week, we'll see the shocking conclusions. Well, basically we'll see what happens next. Which, I'm looking forward to that. So in case you're curious though, for the original series, the first season was 21 episodes. Season 2 was 19, make up the shortest season of the original series. Season 3 was 23 episodes. Season 4 and 6 were both 24 apiece. 5 and 7 are 25 apiece. Yeah, in case you're curious though, the original anime aired from April 15th, 1990, when I was 1 year old when the show started, and it concluded on December 15th, 1992. Yep. So we still have a while to go when it comes to adapting the manga. Oh yeah, definitely. And if you're really curious, like, how many chapters are left to be adapted for the entire series of Ranma Half? Okay, so there are 407 chapters for the whole manga, and they've kind of in a way covered the first 12 so far. So they effectively have 395 chapters left to be adapted. If 13 was fully adapted for this episode, it would be 394, but right now it's 395 chapters. It'll still be a while before this is down below 300 chapters left to go. Yes. So the obvious question is how long does it last for? I don't know. It's one of those series right now where I don't have a confirmed episode count for it. It could last a full year, but who knows? Okay? So yeah, that's a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. And do not hit this like button. Well, next up is going to be the 7 Deadly Sins, the 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. Yep, that one next. And then, of course, Fairy to One Here's Quest. And then finally, cap it off with his Roger Ascension. Do I think I might get forward on site? Who knows? Okay, next video. Bye.